Last week, the newly crowned Secunda Super League champions, Sheffield Steelers, clinched their place in the Challenge Cup semi-finals. The Steelers are still on for the Grand Slam of British ice hockey's 4 major titles. But today, we complete the Final Four lineup for the Challenge Cup and find out who the Steelers will have to beat to keep that Grand Slam dream alive. Welcome to Channel 4 Late Night Hockey, the only show that should come with an X-rated certificate, because, I'll tell you, it's going to be a very aggressive game, as usual, and there's going to be a little bit of showing of the birds and the bees, because tonight we've got the Bracknell Bees and we've got the Ayr Scottish Eagles. Very good stuff. So, will the Eagles have landed, or the Bees have stung them where it hurts by the end of tonight's contest? This is the Bracknell Arena, a small, cramped rink that no team likes to visit. The Ayr Scottish Eagles, seen here arriving at the rink a couple of hours before the face-off, at least know they have the better record against Bracknell this season. 5 matches played at this stage, with 3 wins to the Eagles. Anyway, this was how Sheffield overcame the Belfast Giants last week, a match they had to win to stay in the cup. It's set up a fascinating competition, because as the league format Challenge Cup qualification rounds come to an end, the big 3, Sheffield, Belfast and London, are all through, and that leaves just one place to fill. It's suddenly become a knockout competition for Bracknell and Ayr. Now, folks, it's not been the easiest season, has it, for the Bees?
I'll say, and the problems really started before the season even began. They lost their coach to Belfast. He took a large number of the players with him. A lot of the others left because they didn't want to stick around because their contracts weren't being signed. Over half the team, well over half the team, left the championship-winning Bracknell Bees in the close season. That's really hurt this side. They've had to do a lot of rebuilding.
The other problem they've had this year as well has been the fact that last time they played up in Ayr, they had a little problem with the coach crash on the way back. Half the players got injured, and the Bees since then have really struggled to get back to full strength.
Now, what's exactly at stake tonight?
Everything's at stake. We've got ourselves into a real quarter-final situation here, and that's what's key tonight, and that's what's going to make this such an intense game this evening.
And I think tonight you could see, if both teams hold their nerve, you could see a lot of goals in this one.
Last year was Bracknell's breakthrough year, but as Colin said, the Millennium model had a rather different feel to this year's model. When Dave Whistle decamped to Northern Ireland, along with most of the Super League winning side, Bracknell had to rebuild. They brought in Italian head coach Ennio Saccalotti, fresh from a successful continental season with the Swiss side HC Lugano, and it's a different style that Ennio is bringing to Bracknell. Now, you've coached all over the world. What's the standard like in Britain at the moment?
I think it's very good. I really like the league and I enjoy being here, and you British people are great. Good senses of humor and good beer. But the league is excellent. I'm really enjoying it, and it's a high level of hockey. We're amongst the best in Europe.
Yeah, you're actually bringing a very European style over here as well, aren't you, in the way that you're delivering your teams?
Yeah, well, I think we have a lot of skilled guys. We have a lot of team speed, and we have trouble scoring goals sometimes. But yeah, thanks. It's a compliment.
But it's not only Bracknell showing off the best of European hockey. The Ayr forward lines contain 2 of Britain's very best players, the evergreen Tony Hand and the Eagles' young Great Britain pretender Jonathan Weaver, not to mention the Super League's top point scorer Ed Courtney.
We're going to see an open game of ice hockey. It's going to be a game of typical European hockey, which will see a lot of skating, a lot of passing and probably a lot of scoring.
but look at the goaltenders, because both goaltenders, they're not in the top echelons of this league, really. They're not right up there when you look at the statistics. They can both turn it on. Ayres goaltender in particular, Philippe de Rouville, he's got a nickname with the fans around this league. He's called De Rebound, because he gives up so much of the puck and gives up so many opportunities. So maybe we'll see something in front of goal because of mistakes from him.
OK, now, if we're going to have a little bet, who do you think's going to win?
Well, I'd have to put my money on the Ayres Scottish Eagles. They've got so much talent, and in the likes of Teeder, Wynne, Ed Courtney and Tony Hand, they have offences probably unrivaled in the league.
Colin?
Bracknell are hitting a bit of form at the moment. They've come back from a lot. Their coach is slowly starting to get himself into this particular league, and I think they're going to want this more, and I think their team ethic's going to carry them through. I'm going to go with the Bracknell Bees.
And here is the Bracknell team lineup. Brian Greer in goal, the forward line Mordy, Ceman and Cardarelli, full of talent. And here are the other lines. Chris Brandt and Blake Knox, the captain, two players adding some real bite to the Bees' forward play. Remember, this is a team that is still very much in the development stage under Ennio Sacalotti. Onto the Ayres Scottish Eagles, and Great Britain star Jonathan Weaver starts alongside Mark Montanari. But there's talent in all the Eagles' offensive lines. Teeder, Wynne and Ed Courtney will be sharing shifts. Tony Hand are part of that next attacking line. And look out for the defence, the muscle provided by Trevor Doyle and another veteran, Scott Young.
Welcome to Bracknell then. Our first chance to get a look at these two teams here on UK Ice Hockey, and it couldn't be more important. This is a knockout fixture. Whoever wins this goes through to the semi-finals. Referee Andy Carson drops the puck, gets underway. Ayres are going from right to left in those multicoloured orange and green shirts. And here's British prospect Weaver, goes over the blue line, tries to pull the move, can't force it through. Bracknell played out into neutral ice. Crucial game set.
It is. It's a huge one for both teams, and I think it's one that's going to be a very tight game, and it's going to be a lot of hard work for both teams to try and get through. I mean, this really could make either team's season.
So, through now, Weaver, again, skating through this first shift, drops it off, that's a nice move. Bauba tried to flip it in on net, forced into the corner, flips it behind to Weaver. Weaver looks through, he gets it, Montanari on the backhand! Oh, the opening goal for the Ayres Scottish Eagles. The net's off its moorings, but it won't matter. The goal is signalled after just 36 seconds, and it was Montanari who buried it.
Great work from Bauba to get it down low to Weaver behind the back of the net. Weaver, with all the ice to look at, he just looked and fed it out in front, and there was Montanari right on the doorstep. Made a little move and then put it through the 5-hole. And what a start. Definitely no bus legs for the Eagles.
Great goal as far as the Ayres Scottish Eagles are concerned. Especially good to get themselves settled here in this rink, because it's not an easy place to play, is it?
No, it's very difficult, particularly for the goaltenders early on, but Ayres have come out, and a really strong first shift will give them the momentum in the early stages, and that's something that they're going to be very happy about, and it's going to put Bracknell in a deep hole that they're going to have to skate out of. But there's still plenty of time left in this one.
Well, the 2,500 fans trying to lift their hometown Bees. Of course, last season's Super League champions, rather against the odds, but victims of the high level of turnover inside the British game, seeing a lot of their players leave, something we discussed before the game.
Yes, I think that it has been one of the problems, but the coach of the Bracknell Bees, Ennio Sacalotti, has done such a good job of getting hold of these basically younger and better skating players, and that's the team he's tried to assemble, and I think that's one thing we're going to see a lot of this evening.
Well, they start this game on the back foot, having conceded a goal after just 36 seconds. And here come Ayres again. This is Scott Young. Scott Young bears down, he goes, and off the bar! Oh, what a great chance for Young. And now Bracknell can get the puck clear, but great opportunity.
Great skating from Scott Young, the defenseman, just broke down the ice, made a beautiful move, and really should have finished that, as he had half a net to shoot at, just fired a little bit too high, and then Ed Courtney couldn't quite get in on the rebound.
I think we'll file that as a miss for the Ayres Scottish Eagles. That would have really put the pressure on Bracknell early on this game, but as it is, they're still in it. Young, the guilty party, clears the puck, and Bracknell back into their own zone with Buckner. Shapes and looks for the outlet pass into neutral ice. It goes, cleared quickly by Eberle for the Eagles, puts it straight back into the corner, and no one's really able to settle just at the moment. Bracknell will want to get the puck down, they'll want to play it, they'll want to use those skaters. They're trying to get it down the right-hand side now with Knox. Knox pushing it forward on the backhand. De Rouville out of his goal, the former NHL draft pick, gets it round the boards, and still the Bees hold it inside the zone in that far corner there. Flipped in behind the net, trying to dig it out. The Ayres Scottish Eagles, Knox has got it. Knox has got the chance to bring it round the goal line. Maybe look for a feed in front. He's well pleased, though. Forced to put it back behind the net. And Doyle should bring it away. And Doyle, one of the hard men, really. One of the players to look out for in this particular game, but not the greatest skater in the world.
He's not the most graceful out there on the ice, but I'd rather you said him not being a great skater than me. He is big, he is tough, and he adds another dimension to this Scottish Eagles team, which is full of skill players like Tony Hand, who's on the puck now, and Teeder, Wynne and Ed Courtney. Those players, they need the protection of somebody like a Trevor Doyle who will mix it up.
Well, the long shot, and it will go down as a shot, although it wasn't realistically one. Cleared away, looking for the quick pass. Goaltenders can be so useful when they do that. Not picked up on by Cardarelli, though. Behind the net it goes now. Wrestled out in front. Bracknell Bees playing in the black and white from left to right. Dan Ceman flipping it in behind the net, waiting for the return pass in the high slot. It's not going to come just at the moment. This is the good attention being given to Cardarelli by Bauba. Cardarelli's got it out now, passes it across the front of net, and there's a penalty on the play. Bracknell still have it. It's a delayed penalty. We'll have to wait for the whistle. It comes now as the Scottish Eagles touch the puck.
Bracknell started really on the back foot in this game after the early goal, but these last couple of shifts, they've really come back into it, and it's been that man, Joe Cardarelli, who's caused so many problems, and he drew that penalty by just keeping his feet moving the whole time he had the puck in the offensive zone, and the Scottish Eagles had no choice but to bring him down to the ice.
That hooking call on Bauba sets something of a pattern for our Scottish Eagles. In the first 7 minutes of play, 3 Ayr players were dispatched to the sin bin. We return with the Eagles, 1 man down.
13 minutes left in the first then. Dan Ceman and Tony Hand will contest this face-off inside Scottish Eagles territory. The Eagles win it, get it round the boards. Buckner can't hold it in, and the skate will be on down towards that far end of the ice. Montanari, who's a tough player to play against, will put the pressure on Greer. He calmly bounces off the boards for Buckner. Outlet pass, left-hand side. Bees still trying to get this going. Stumble there. Trying it difficult to play. Montanari's stolen it. Away he goes, just one-on-one for the second. He's got support from Weaver. Finds Weaver. Weaver, though, can't get the shot. The attention coming from Brandt, that could have been crucial there.
It was. Chris Brandt really got back. He skated ever so well to get back in time, and he just lifted Weaver's stick up.
Cleared away now, but still it's Buckner. Buckner for the Bees, looking to wind up, does. Just turned away by Deruvel. Second opportunity. How are they not stuffing that home? Brandt winds it up again. Bounces off a shin, and now the Eagles can clear it.
Great work again from Bracknell, getting the puck into the zone and just working ever so hard to get it down low. Deruvel, though, giving up a couple of rebounds. We talked about that before the start of the game, and really he's got to be a bit more careful.
Great interception from Teeder Wynne, but there was no one waiting in the slot for him to feed it to when he stripped it away from Greer. So Bracknell can get it clear now, and it's end-to-end action just at the moment. Some great opportunities there for Bracknell. They're skating away now. They're putting the pressure on the forecheck. Young trying to dig it out of that corner, comes under pressure from 3 Bs. Wah it is who finally gets it back towards the blue line, but it's stripped away by Wynne. Wynne goes to the races. He's got Byram inside him if he wants to use him, tries to flip it inside. That's too far in front of Byram, who's just got to flip it around the back of the net. Opportunity wasted.
Teeder Wynne is a forward who's been snake-bitten of recent weeks. He's not been able to put the puck in the back of the net, and I think that's why he didn't take the shots on goal. He just didn't have the confidence just to wire one.
Teeder Wynne and Ed Courtney, 2 great friends, both in a similar position this season, both lacking a bit of confidence and lacking a bit of finishing at the moment. Wide aim from that far side, over it goes towards that corner, and Bulcher will try and get things going for the Bees. Comes through the face-off dot, tries to play it in, the flip shot just goes wide. Cicerello picks up his own shot off the boards, looks to turn it straight back in and generate something for the Bees. It's Wah now. Wah looking to take the shot, does, gets it into the pads. Deruvel is down, and to turn it away.
Bracknell have played really well the last couple of shifts, got some decent shots on goal, and Deruvel, so far, he's done all right. He's managed to stone them, but he's still giving out these rebounds.
And this is Phil Deruvel's league history. Drafted into the NHL in the early 90s before moving over to Europe and eventually to Scotland. Deruvel saving 90% of all shots on goal. Not bad, but not the best. In front of him, the Ayr team were continuing to keep the officials busy. Hardman Trevor Doyle, big sexy to his friends, becoming the 4th Eagle to spend 2 minutes in the sin bin. The advertising banner saying it all. We rejoin the match with 6 minutes left on the first period. Ayr, once again, down to 4 skaters.
Last few seconds then of that slashing minor against Doyle for the Ayr Scottish Eagles to kill. That's a good face-off win for them. It should allow them to see the seconds count down on that penalty as they play it all the way around the boards, making Cicerello work as he goes back and waits for the pass on the right-hand side. Instead it goes left for the Bracknell Bees. Still they can't get things moving though as the penalty comes to an end. Now they have. They've got it going down that right-hand side with new man Morty. Morty gets it inside. Nice shot, nice turn away from Deruvel. Fired in again, Deruvel in action again, and he stones that one too. Still gives up the rebound, but it's cleared away by the Scottish Eagles.
The Scottish Eagles are putting themselves back under pressure, though, because they're seemingly unable to keep clearing the puck, and every time the shot comes in, it's not just the first shot, it's the second and the third as well. De Rouville, for the moment, stopping them, but he may see himself get tired later on in the game because having to do all this extra work.
Buckner carrying it away, just tugged down to the ice, and that'll bring up the penalty against Bristow. Carries on hooking, it'll be delayed, all slow pace at the moment, and now they get the stick on the puck. Harding's it is. That'll bring the penalty up. Carson pointing to the box and sending Bristow to the bin.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you ever wanted to see a classic hook, here you've got it. Cam Bristow comes down, he just gets a stick right in the armpit, and Buckner had no choice but to be hauled down to the ice.
Face-off win then, just to the right of the goal. Brandt fires it in, comes off a backside. I think it was Sean Byram's, and out it comes again. Bracknell moving it around, trying to cycle, trying to get a position set, and all the time Ayr trying to put the pressure on and trying to clear it over that blue line. That's what you need to do in these situations. You need to force the attacking team backwards when you're a man short, and Young's done just that. The entire Bracknell team will now have to clear the attacking zone and start all over again. Pretty aggressive from the Ayr Scottish Eagles, making them work even inside their own zone. Bracknell, here they come now, down that right-hand side with Hurley. Hurley just drops it off as Bracknell try and cycle things around, look for the pass inside. Wah, back to the blue line. Exchanging passes, looking for the opening with Mansell. Bulcher now, feeds it in, turned away, stopped, and should be fired out, and is fired out high. Good penalty killing.
It is very good penalty killing, because what the Ayr Scottish Eagles are doing is they're just using their four-man to force wherever the puck's going, and making sure that they keep the shooter to the outside at all times.
Well, Bracknell struggling to find this elusive equaliser just at the moment. In the high slot it is, fired in high. That'll be comfortably cleared by the Eagles.
Nice bit of play by Anders Hillström, the big Swedish defenseman. 6'6", he's the tallest player in the Ice Hockey Super League. First season over here in Britain, and he's a player that really has made a big difference to the Eagles' defence with his good, strong, big and solid play.
Are Ayr making life a bit difficult for themselves at the moment? They're taking an awful lot of penalties. This is their fifth.
I think you have to say they are, because Andy Carson, being the ref that he is, sees everything out there on the ice, and everything that he sees he calls, and Ayr haven't quite realised that, and they keep doing these little plays off the puck, and that's where they're suffering.
We think teams will get to know the limited number of referees in this league after a while. Obviously not in this particular case. Bracknell skating back into their own zone, being forced to set it up from their own zone because of the attention of Jonathan Weaver there. They'll try and play it out now towards this right-hand side. Buckner, gentle pass forward, stripped away. Knoxall going after it again. Buckner can't hold it in, rather flaps at that as it goes over his head. And teams can play it with their hands. Difference is you can't close your hand on the puck. That's the only rule in terms of playing it with your hands, and you can't pass it to a teammate with your hand either. Here go Bracknell now, in towards that corner. Good check, well held in. Tony Hand should be able to clear that for the Eagles, and does, gets it high, and they're maintaining this penalty killing.
When you're penalty killing, what you've got to realise is that you are a man short, and you've just got to try and survive for the next 2 minutes to get through till you go back to playing 5-on-5 again. And what the Ayr Scottish Eagles have done so well is all the players that have been out there have used their angles very well and skated extra hard, and that's what pleases coaches. Something's brewing up with Trevor Doyle just behind the play. It was Doyle and Knock. Now it's Doyle and Brandt who are getting involved. Doyle wants a piece of him. Linesman Hicks has got in the way, and Doyle's trying to get round him to get to Brandt, who seems to be just standing there and encouraging to come on in. Now Doyle's trying to throw punches over the top of the linesman. He's got to stop that. The linesman's asked him to stop. He's getting into the face of the linesman, throwing punches at the linesman now. That's extraordinary. He's so keen to get to Brandt. He's actually hitting the linesman. That is shocking. That really is appalling from Doyle. Now he goes down to the ice. He should calm down now. He's got to calm down now. He's obviously not happy. He's swearing at the official, and he's put his glove into Carson's face. Well, there is no excuse for that. He's out of the game. Trevor Doyle's out of the game, and quite frankly, he deserves it. That is absolutely disgusting what he did to linesman Mikel Hicks. Because we're going to see exactly what happened as Blake Knox comes in. He just throws a check. He put his elbow up a little bit high, but here we see Doyle. He turns around, he makes a punch, a grab. He's not happy. He shakes his helmet back on, and these two just start talking. Chris Brandt's doing his job for the Bracknell Bees, though, as we just see him come in here. He just steps in and says, oh, hold on, you don't go near any of our smaller players. And then cue Trevor Doyle going absolutely nuts. And this is the point he should stop. He's been held on to by two linesmen, yet Doyle just continues, and the ref was left with no choice but to throw him out. And Ayr coach Paul Heavey will be without Doyle for the rest of this game, and probably a few more as well.
And as you can see from this graphic, Trevor Doyle, no stranger to spending time off the ice this season. Ejected from tonight's game for taking on most of the Bracknell team, And the officials. Although on the Bracknell side, Blake Knox and Chris Brandt receiving 2-minute penalties for their involvement in the brawl.
Well, such is the way of penalty calls in ice hockey that's resulted in just the single 2-minute power play to Bracknell. Blake Knox also sitting down for delaying the game, and a roughing call on Chris Brandt, balancing out many of the calls against Trevor Doyle. And Bracknell, though, struggled on their many power play opportunities so far.
With just 2.5 minutes left in the period, then it's really, really important, this power play for the Bracknell Bees. They have to use that man advantage, and that's something they've not done so far, because it could be such a key if they can get the goal now, and it'll be such a momentum boost.
Mordy on the puck for the Bracknell Bees, trying to get it going now from the back, down the right-hand side. Flip forward, they're going to look for the quick pass. They've got it here, Cardarelli trying to force it home, gets it in, and it's a goal for the Bracknell Bees. I think, actually, looking at the referee, that's going to be washed out. The net's come off its moorings there.
I think that's going to be the ruling from the referee, Andy Carson. Immediately, he spread his arms wide and started shaking his head. So we see the replay, a couple of nice moves. And there we see him fired in, actually, off the back of the pads. But Mikel coming in, he just shoved his man, Mordy, into the net. And that's what's going to negate this goal.
But the question everyone's going to answer is, did the puck cross the line before the net lifted off its moorings?
I don't think so. I think Mikel just managed to push his man just in time to knock it off. And really a decent bit of defending by Mikel.
And disgust for the Bracknell Bees. Dan Ceman skating away. He won't be happy with that. That was their equaliser. He was convinced of it.
That was the last chance of an incident-packed first period. Ayr leading despite a total of 8 penalty infractions called against them. Mark Montanari scoring the only goal after just 36 seconds of play to give the Eagles the lead. It's 1-0 to the Ayr Scottish Eagles after the first period, but the big story of the half, Trevor Doyle's gone. The big sexy is no longer. He got a bit too physical there with the linesman. Naughty boy. Join us in just a few minutes.
He's got to calm down now. He's obviously not happy. He's wearing the official, and he's put his glove into Carson's face. Well, there is no excuse for that.
Welcome back to the Bracknell ice rink. Ayr Scottish Eagles leading the Bracknell Bees by that single goal, scored in the opening minutes by Mark Montanari. Well, as the officials come back onto the ice for another busy period, we said earlier in the programme that the Sheffield Steelers are currently chasing the Grand Slam of British ice hockey's 4 major trophies. The last side to do that was in fact Ayr 4 years ago. Tony Hand was there for the glory years, but since then the team has undergone many changes. And that includes taking on a new head coach in the form of Cardiff stalwart Paul Heavey. Colin Hazelden caught up with him.
Does that Grand Slam, is that a burden on this club?
Well, it seems to be, for some reason, just talking to the players and some of the people around the rink that haven't won the 4 trophies in the Grand Slam, and the way in which they've done it, there's obviously high expectations. And it was the same in Cardiff when I was there. If we didn't win something, basically it was failure. So it does, but it's a very competitive league now, and I think the fans and the owners are becoming more realistic that it's a lot harder to actually achieve winning a trophy these days.
Now, over your years in Cardiff, I think I struggle to think of any player who you didn't get to play both ends of the rink. But you've got some very single-minded goal scorers and playmakers in Ayr. Has that been difficult for you to adjust to?
I think for me that's been the major challenge because we have such an offensive-minded team, talented and skillful. We're the Super League's top goal-scoring team. We've scored more goals than anybody. So my biggest challenge as a coach is really to get them to focus on defence. We very rarely talk about offence. There's a few games that we've struggled offensively, but there's a lot of goal scoring throughout the whole team, forwards and defensemen. So my challenge is to try and sell the players' defence. And when we can do that, we'll get a really good chance of winning hockey games.
Well, they've needed to be sharp defensively tonight, playing so much of that first period against the Bracknell power play. But they're in the lead, and we rejoin the action just over 6 minutes into period 2. Here's Seth and Colin once again.
So Ayr maintaining their 1-goal lead despite the Bracknell pressure, and Seth, they're doing a decent job.
They are. They're playing very, very well so far, the Scottish Eagles. They've perhaps ridden their luck a little bit, but they've had to, and the disallowed goal has just meant that they've been able to maintain this one-goal lead.
And the British player is still doing so well. Down the right-hand side, he's floored. That's going to draw a penalty from Andy Carson. It'll be a tripping call as Hand was brought down against the boards.
Good penalty to draw by Tony Hand. We see him just skating, keeps those legs moving all the time, and the stick just gets involved of O'Rourke right in the skates of Tony Hand, and Hand just had no choice but to go down.
So, another power play opportunity. This time, though, it's going to go the way of the Scottish Eagles and Tony Hand.
And they're so dangerous. They've got so many good skating, good puck handling forwards, and they pass the puck around so well. Bracknell are really going to have to be on their guard on this one, and they've got to make sure that they close down all the forwards as quickly as they possibly can.
But there's no way a second goal will kill this off, is there?
Not really, but it's an uphill struggle when de Reville is just turning everything away right now.
Hand gets it back towards the blue line, passed in by Silverplatz, back towards that right-hand corner now. Harding's gone in after it, comes back out towards that corner. Harding will have to bounce it off the boards again, and it'll come back to Hand, top of the circle. Hand looking for his opening. In low to Harding, combination of size and speed in Hand and Harding there. Bristow against the boards, has to wrestle his man to get it. Hand flips it out from underneath. He's still looking for the opportunity, turned in on net, free for a moment. Bristow couldn't apply the finish, and out it goes into neutral ice.
This line of Hand, Bristow and Harding is quite unique. Tony Hand's not very big, but Bristow and Harding are both huge men, and they just go in the corners, do all Hand's dirty work, win in the puck, and then let him do the rest.
Sometimes, though, you wonder if that line can actually apply a finish.
Well, Tony Hand's still doing well on the old point scoring scale, so I think they finished just enough. And the other good thing is it forces Tony Hand to cut inside and take more shots on goal, which is something that perhaps you could criticise him through most of his career.
Tony Hand, top of the point scoring chart, once again at intervals this season, as he's been at many times over the last 12 years.
And he is the best British player to ever play the game. He's somebody that played at the top level from being 14 years of age, and he's won everything that there is to win.
Air on the puck once again with that big defenseman Scott Young, as hair flowing behind him as he fights his way into the corner, puts it in behind, around the boards it goes, held in by Courtney, that tall figure, trying to put it in towards his strike partner Wynne. Courtney couldn't hold it there, and away will come Bracknell into neutral ice. In fact, they might just look for the breakaway there, didn't quite happen for them. Air can come straight back. Flip pass inside, it was looking for Courtney, who had the lane to the net, intercepted before it could get there though. Byram will put it round the boards. Courtney tries to flip it out and can't do so.
Great penalty killing again. They're using their four men so well, the Bracknell Bees. They're just keeping the puck all the way around the outside and not allowing Air any penetration.
Here's the drive now, kicked away by Greer, and that will bring up the whistle.
But still, the shot came from long distance, and Greer was able to see the puck. Not much traffic in front of him. When you've got the likes of Tony Hand and Teeder Wynne out there, they're not going to go towards the net. And so Brian Greer, as you see the goaltender there, he's always going to have a good look, and when he's got a good look, he's going to do well.
Well, Jan Mikel and Mark Bulcher having a bit of a discussion in the wake of that shot and that save. I think linesman Hicks will be a little more wary of stepping between them, but he won't mind too much because they've decided not to go for it.
I tell you what, though, if he's managed to get a hold of Trevor Doyle and step in on him, he'd be probably quite happy to step in on Mark Bulcher. There's a slight size difference.
I have to say, my admiration for Mr. Hicks has increased no end after this game. Back it goes to the blue line now, flipped across by Young. Thinking about the shot, they do fire it in, just turned away by Greer. He looked for the second effort on that shot from Wynne. It wasn't a strong shot, but they had trouble dealing with it, didn't they?
They did, but they did get it away in the end, and Dan Ceman nearly had a chance for a breakaway. If he just hadn't lost an edge there as he was skating down, he would have been home free.
Played out then by the Scottish Eagles to Byram, left-hand side. He's got Young as an option, uses Courtney instead. Now he puts it towards Young. Young's lost it, and away will go now. And now Ceman is on the breakaway. He seems to be travelling a bit slow, but he'll get the shot off. Oh, saved de Reville. Just gets a piece of that on his glove. Maybe a second opportunity. Can they get it in again? Ceman on the backhand. De Reville with his stick on the ice.
More great penalty killing. The Scottish Eagles losing the puck right in the offensive zone. And immediately there's a 2-on-1 going the other way with Dan Ceman. And Ceman, as he comes in here, sees top corner. De Reville got the catcher up just in time, but they see another rebound given up. I mean, he did well just to stop the puck, but he had to make 2 saves again. And that's something that he can't keep affording to do.
Well, Bracknell still have over half the game to exploit it, and still only the 1-goal deficit. And remember, whichever team wins this is through to the Challenge Cup semi-finals. The losers are out. It's as simple as that. Battle on the boards between Hillstrom and Hurley, two of the big fellas of the game. Bauba now flipping it forward on the backhand. Weaver will chase that one. He's got a job to do against Buckner. He's done the job on Buckner. Oh, what a goal, Weaver! Oh my, how did he get round there and flip that in? Fantastic work, so strong to hold his man off and get that in the top corner. Excellent work from Weaver, and a 2-goal lead for Ayr.
Keeps it one hand on his stick, makes a move to the inside, and then top corner, you see the water bottle pop. That is one of the things, as a winger, you'd love to see. Weaver just cuts in then again. He could have done that better if he tried.
Buckner roasted, Ayr 2-0 up, and suddenly all that penalty killing in the first period pays off for them. 2 goals to the good, and you could argue they shouldn't be.
And that is why Jonathan Weaver is so highly valued by his coach at Ayr and by the Great Britain boss, Chris McSorley. Weaver adding to his assist for the first Eagles goal.
This guy's got an interference and a cross-check. That guy's got a slash.
Both teams continue to rack up the penalty minutes, and as we rejoin the second period, yet another Eagle, Sean Byram, has found his way to the sin bin.
So those penalties then mean that it'll be a power play for the Bracknell Bees. Can they make something of this one? Brandt can't hold that one in, tries to flip it across, can't do so. Ayr will skate away down this right-hand side now with Montanari. He's a tough player to play against, and he's carried it into the corner. Good work from him. Has to be double-teamed by Simonton and Brandt before they can finally dig it out, and even then they make a meal of it. Now they get rid of it, though. Cardarelli trying to skate away with it. Still held inside the Bracknell zone. Bracknell struggling to clear even their own zone with a man advantage. Here goes Knox now, trying to generate something. He's got options in front of him. Cardarelli and Ceman. Uses Ceman. Left-hand side. Ceman going round the bottom. De Rouville tries to clear towards the hash mark. Ceman goes back to the blue line. Just try and set it up now. Bracknell fired straight through on net by Cardarelli. Puck flips free, and he'll have to go and dig it out from the boards. Back to the blue line, just exchanging passes. Now Cardarelli looks to flip it inside. Fired through on net, goes past De Rouville's goal. And Bracknell have to start from the blue line again, but they've set things up nicely. Now Silverplatz can try and clear. Still Bracknell hold it in the zone. Silverplatz misses his kick. Ceman carries that in against the boards, looking to flip it out in front. Can't do it. Mikel carries his man. Still the puck's not clear though. Still Bracknell hold it in. This time they do manage to kick it forward. Flipped out towards the blue line, gloved down by Simonton. In towards the corner, fired across now, great opportunity, underneath, second effort from Knox. Oh, goal from Knox. Goal from Knox on the rebound. We've been saying it all game that De Rouville gives up the second shot. Classic example there. Knox takes full advantage. Bracknell back in it. Bracknell 1, Ayr 2.
And this was coming as Knox, you see him just fire it home on the backhand side. He did well to get that one through traffic, but that was all about the great power play work by the Bracknell Bees. The way they kept that in the zone through Simonton and Cardarelli, and Knox and Ceman all working the puck really well, and eventually just broke out. And we said it was going to catch up with De Rouville, and it did.
Ennio Sacilotto now with something to go into the locker room. Something positive to say to his team.
Hockey's a game of momentum, and when you get a goal so close to the end of a period, you can take that momentum and you can use it in the period breaks to fire yourselves up and get yourself ready for the next period.
Well, of course, now Bracknell will have to make it stick. Hand carries it into the corner for the Ayr Scottish Eagles and then gives it up. Flipped out in front once again. That's a decent interception, though, and Ayr should clear it. They do. Bauba gets it to Hand, and Hand will take the easy option and go back into defence. Gently forward by Eberle, into the corner, looking for the chase. He gets it, but that should be cleared by Wah, and is, comfortably enough.
I think the other thing you've got to remember is the fact that the crowd are now into it. You can hear them, and they're much louder than they've been for most of the game.
Hurley just feeds one in to Rouville, pads it away, though. Hand can get hold of this and just flip it out. That takes an unfortunate kick off a skate, and Bauba has some room here. No danger here. Oh, he's fired it! Oh, what a goal from Bauba! He just let that go from the top of the circle. There seemed to be no risk there at all, and he just let one go and got it past Greer.
I think that surprised everyone in the building. Here we see the wind-up, and bingo, there it is, right in the back of the net, and I think Brian Greer is going to be disappointed with that one. He had a clean look at it. There was a little bit of a screen, but no, he stepped back. There you go. Well, how did that sneak between his pad and glove? It did, though, and well, it changes the face of the game again, and now Bracknell are going to be down, the crowd are going to be quiet, and Ayr are going to be buoyant going into the locker room.
And Sacilotto rewrites his team talk for the second time.
Poor old Ennio. Bracknell down, but are they out? Not yet. Just 20 minutes left to salvage their Challenge Cup campaign. What a fantastic second period there. Jonathan Weaver's goal, absolutely awesome, but the Bees scuffled in an equaliser, but the Eagles came back, so it's 3-1 to them. Or can the Bees get something back in return? Can they get something out of this game? Can they stay in the competition? We'll see after the break. Welcome back to full latest coverage of the Challenge Cup decider here at the Bracknell ice rink. Bracknell Bees against the Ayr Scottish Eagles. The winners go through to the semi-finals, and at the moment it's Ayr in the driving seat. Well, in the third period, it was the quick reactions of Bracknell goalie Brian Greer that kept the Bees in the hunt. This save was from Cam Bristow. And at the other end, Philip de Rouville played his part too, as Bracknell poured forward. Here, picking the puck off Mark Bulger's stick with a goal begging. So, Ayr needing all the rearguard help they can get, with the clock ticking down, and with defenceman Trevor Doyle sitting things out after his first period brainstorm. Make or break for Ennio Sacalotto, and for Paul Heavey.
4.5 minutes, it's not long to rescue your participation in the Challenge Cup, but that's what Bracknell have to do now. This is hockey though, 2 goals. It's an awkward lead to defend. Young feeds it out onto the right-hand side. Bracknell intercept, neutralise, try and get things going straight away down that right-hand side. With Mordy in the visor, flips it through, looks for the early shot, but that's just fed wide, and it seemed easier to put that on net somehow.
Bracknell are creating the chances. They've just got to find that finish and find another way past de Rouville.
Courtney gets rid of that, and the skate's on now. Wynne's away, Wynne on the breakaway, tries to pull the move, tries to flip it through the 5-hole, doesn't get there, and Greer covers up in the end.
That's a fantastic save. Teeder Wynne came down, he made all the right moves. As we see the puck, it's right on edge here, it's bobbling, he's trying to settle it down, does on the backhand side, then flicks it. And what a save to get his stick and pad in the way by Brian Greer. That's really quality goaltending here. So we see it again, the blocker, the stick, the pad, and then he just jumps down and grabs a hold of it.
Just sliding across, wasn't he, just to prevent that puck going in. Teeder Wynne misses his opportunity to bury this one for Ayr.
That could be crucial. That could be a save that keeps Bracknell in this game.
Well, there's not long left. They need to score a couple at the other end, as well as getting great saves out of Brian Greer. They're going to try and do so now. Down the left with Ceman. Ceman pushes it inside. That's Cardarelli. Cardarelli making his way through. Cardarelli flips it back. Just behind Ceman, though, and then crashes into the net and takes it off its moorings.
The nets here at Bracknell tend to come off their moorings rather easily, as we see a replay as this one. Just a couple of nice hooks and slashes, and Cardarelli had no choice but to go down into the net. We already saw the goal that was disallowed because the nets came off their moorings. They have to come off their moorings quite easily, because if a player skates in around 25, 26 miles an hour, they would get hurt if they went straight into the steel.
Well, it's going to bring up a face-off for Dan Ceman to try and win inside Ayr Scottish Eagles territory. Things getting just a little bit desperate now for the Bracknell Bees. They know they have to score very soon if they're to have a chance in this game. Round the boards it goes, and Ayr have got rid of it. Nicely done by the Scottish Eagles. Back inside their own zone now. They'll try and set it up with O'Rourke. Flips it just behind him, under pressure, and Ayr will keep that pressure on, no matter how much hard work it means now. Challenge Cup semi-final berth at stake. Oh, nice work there from Pulcher to flip it between his legs. The Bees still have it going. Rebound given up. Here's Ceman, takes it around the goaltender and flips it in. And suddenly Bracknell are within 1 goal, and that semi-final berth doesn't look so very far away.
You can see the intensity on Dan Ceman's face as we see Cardarelli feed it out. Takes a deflection off Hand and then deflects again off de Rouville, and Hand couldn't quite get there as he tried to flick that one off the line, but Dan Ceman, with a nice move, was able to finish that. And look how pumped he is. He thinks that Bracknell are easily going to get back into this one now. He's going to go back, and this is going to be a real energizer for the bench.
And for the crowd as well, who are well into this one. You can see the bench just feeding off it, just 3:15 left.
At lifeline for Ennio Sacalotto's Bracknell team, we rejoin the match with time running out.
Well, it's all Bracknell as we approach the 2 minutes to go mark in this game. Puck is dropped. Bracknell keeping the pressure on, looking for the equalising goal, which would take this game into overtime and maintain their chance of entering that Challenge Cup semi-final stage. Flip forward now. Looking for the pass inside. Flipped in high. De Rouville knocks that one away. Around the boards it goes. Still puck live on the right-hand side. Ayr bringing it away now with Teeder Wynne. Gets it inside towards Eberle. Eberle drops it off for Wynne, who's going to skate round the back, try and find the feed inside. Brandt's there to knock it away for the Bees.
Chris Brandt's had a great game at both ends of the ice. He's done so much for Bracknell in this one, as he was just there to tidy up.
Here's Buckner now. Buckner looking for the pass inside. Takes a kick off someone's body in there. They get the pass in. It flips high over the top and into that far corner. Will go Mordy now to look for it. Bracknell still keeping it in the zone, doing a really good job of maintaining the pressure on the blue line. Now Ayr should get rid of it. Courtney will put it high in the air and kill some time off.
And it's desperation for the Ayr Scottish Eagles. They're just trying to clear the puck the length of the ice, because at this point in the game, they just can't afford to concede another goal, because at 3-3, Bracknell with the momentum, you would expect them to perhaps get a fourth goal. But it is still a struggle to make it 3-3, but they are creating the opportunities, and they've just got to keep working the puck in low, and then they've got to get the rebounds from Derouville.
Well, Paul Heavey, the Ayr Scottish Eagles coach, knows he's only 1 minute and 23 seconds away from the semi-finals of a major trophy. Ceman trying to win the face-off for the Bees, can't do so. Ayr go behind their net, flip it clear. This has been a great performance from them, a great display of penalty killing in the first period. They'll deserve it if they do go through. But Bracknell are going to do their level best to stop them. Coming through neutral ice now on the transition, flipping it towards that far side. Chases on for Silverplat, wins the puck, flips it out, and now Ayr get rid of it once again, and they'll just look to clear their zone.
Well, we're coming up to 1 minute to go, and the Bracknell Bees now are going to be looking to call themselves a timeout of the next break in play, and they'll be looking to get Brian Greer off the ice, the goaltender, so they can skate 6-on-5 and really push for that final goal.
It matters so much to them now, this final goal. Challenge Cup semi-final berth at stake. Into the corner it goes. Bracknell just trying to clear their zone and give Greer, he looked to be taking his first steps towards the bench there. Maybe he's going to go early. They flip it into the zone. Brandt's on the chase towards that far corner, tries to feed it out in front, can't get it out there. The battle's on now, in the corner, Ceman's there, Brandt's there, gets it back. Ceman's going to have to chase that, in behind the net, fired in now. No one out in front to pick up on that as it bounces high. All sorts of bodies in front of the net. Now the puck comes in, and Derouville was down an awful long time there, but fortunately for him that he was, because then he had his stick on the ice to stop that when it came through traffic.
Again, a little bit more aggro here. This is just a bit of frustration from the Bracknell Bees, and also I think it's a bit of gamesmanship from Sean Byram. He's just making sure, as we see that shot on goal again, and Derouville was down. He just decided that he was going to kneel down and try and take up as much as the net as he could, because he is a big goalie.
Well, that whistle came with just 16 seconds left, so we really are in all or nothing territory now, and the face-off, Andy Carson confirms, is going to be in Eagles territory.
You see the empty net. Bracknell now are going to perhaps use their timeout. I think this is going to be the most important thing for them to do, as Dan Ceman's just skating around the assistant captain. He's having a few words with Andy Carson. There we see Brian Greer sitting on the bench, and Bracknell need to call a timeout so Ennio Sacilotto can have a chat with his players and let them know exactly what he wants to do, as there they start to skate off. And this is really a big moment for the Bracknell Bees. They're going to go in and they're going to talk what they're going to do. Now, the most important thing for them is they've got to win that face-off, because if they can win the face-off and they can keep the puck in the offensive zone, they can get it back to the big shooters like Chris Brandt.
But if you're Paul Heavey, what are you saying now?
Well, he's talking to the centreman, Mark Montanari, because the important thing for them as well is they've got to win the face-off, and they've just got to try and clear the puck out of the zone. And the other thing they've got to try and do is just block any shot. Don't allow the puck to get through to the net so there aren't any rebounds.
But if you're the defensive team, you can't do more than say, go out and do your job, really, can you?
Not really. You've just got to be careful with the big players driving towards the net. Make sure that the goaltender doesn't get thrown off his game.
Well, Ennio Sacilotto engaged in some more detailed tactical discussion about how exactly to use the man advantage the Bracknell Bees have for just the last 16 seconds of the game. Byram is the crucial man for the Ayr Scottish Eagles. He'll be taking this particular face-off. Bracknell, with the man advantage, will look to get it moving quickly and get the early shots on net. Face-off is won by the Bracknell Bees. Passed across, opportunity driven off the post! Off the post! And the entire goal to Amat. And has Cardarelli, I wonder, just cost the Bracknell Bees a place in the Challenge Cup semi-finals? Ayr are going to hold on to the puck. They're going to kill off the final seconds of this game. Weaver shoots at the empty net. Doesn't get there, and that'll bring it up for this match and for the Bracknell Bees.
There's Joe Cardarelli, the man that fired this bullet one-timer, just pinged off the post, and that's all it was, just half an inch. If it would have gone the other way, it would have been a game all tied up at 3, and we would have seen overtime. But now the Ayr Scottish Eagles have ridden their luck. They're going through to the semi-finals, and they're going to face off against the London Knights.
So I go through, but it was so close. A great defensive display, maybe out of character, but a semi-final place for Paul Heavey in his first year in charge.
Sometimes you come here and sit back and absorb pressure, and it's just a little bit too much. So we went at them, had a lot of chances actually. I'm very surprised it was only 3-2. I mean, I think both teams had a lot of chances, and I think both goaltenders played tremendously well. I think under normal circumstances it could have been a 6-5 hockey game, you know. But no, we just worked really hard. It was a do-or-die situation. I'm very proud of the players. The way they played, they really bore down and done their jobs, and we're thankful we got the points.
And the incident with Trevor Doyle, do you think it was fair the way things turned out?
Maybe. I mean, I think he took a check in the corner. He went up to have a word with the guy. I think one of the Bracknell players stepped in. I'm not sure if he came off the bench. You know, emotions probably got the better of him. The linesman got involved, and he ended up getting thrown out of the game. I mean, he's a big man, and you know that's his role. He has to protect other players, and sometimes the emotions get the better of you. I mean, it left us a little bit short at the back there, you know, but that's just the way it goes sometimes.
Well, with me now, I've got the coach of the Bees, Ennio Sacalotto. Ennio, a bit disappointing.
Well, it is, but our guys gave everything they had, and they left their hearts and a lot of sweat on the ice, so I'm pretty proud of them and happy with the way they battled tonight.
Bad luck, and who knows, next year?
Oh, yeah, as long as you got another game. And the sun's shining, especially in Britain.
Not much of that at the moment, but thank you very much.
Hey, have you been here today? It's beautiful.
Well, outside?
Nice sunny day, yeah.
I've been working, mate.
Okay.
The TV presenter's job is never an easy one.
All right.
All right, thanks.
You should be a hockey coach. All right.
So this is the league table that determines those 4 Challenge Cup semi-finalists. Belfast on top, and Ayr moving up above Sheffield Steelers into 3rd place. And this is how they'll line up over the coming weeks. Both semis over 2 legs, Ayr taking on London, and perhaps the 2 favourites, Belfast and Sheffield, going head-to-head. Can't believe somebody tipped Bracknell. Colin owes us dinner. Colin, were you surprised about the way things went today?
Well, not entirely. I mean, it was always going to be a really balanced game, and I think we knew that. And in the end, it was, I think, a key moment from Weaver, a real bit of genius. And we talked about that before the game, how it was going to be bits of genius that would turn it, and it was a bit of genius, and I think that really turned the game in Ayer's favour when push came to shove.
I think the other thing you've got to mention, though, is Bracknell was so unlucky in the closing stages with just a few seconds left. They hit the post, and if it would have just gone a couple of inches the other way, it would have been a tied-up game. We would have seen overtime and possibly penalty shots.
Now, do you see Ayr as real contenders?
I think anyone's a real contender at this stage. We're into the knockout stages now, and I think anyone can win it. You've got 4 teams there. You've got Ayr, you've got Belfast, you've got London, you've got Sheffield, and they can all go forward and win this because they've all had their moments of form. They've all got great players, and they can all drive straight to that final. And once you're in a final, I mean, that's one game, there's one off. Anyone can win that.
I reckon we ought to have a double or quits for you over dinner, right? Who do you think's going to win the whole thing?
The whole thing? I don't think you can look past Sheffield. I think it's their year. I really do. And I think their name's on virtually everything this season. They just look so good. And they're winning games even when they're not playing particularly well. I think that's got to be a key for them.
Do you agree, Seth?
To be honest, I think it's going to be Belfast. They've played so well in the Challenge Cup. They've really come into form in this mid-season session. And the way that they've been playing and the way that they've really come to the fore in the group stages shows that as their teams come together, they are one of the best teams in the league, and I think that they could be the one to get their hands on this trophy this year, and it'll be a huge lift for the new franchise and the whole of the city of Belfast.
Well, before we go, these were just some of the kids we found playing hockey at Bracknell before we arrived. In fact, the junior game in the UK is thriving. This is the England under-14s who've just beaten the best junior sides in Europe. They're currently in Canada, taking on the rest of the hockey-playing planet in the unofficial Junior World Cup.
In terms of Quebec then and the World Championships, how do you think you're going to do?
We've been going for 10 years. The furthest we've ever gone was the semi-finals. This is probably the best team that we've had, so without wanting to put too much pressure on the boys, I'm fairly hopeful that we'll do reasonably well there this year.
Stuart, you've been involved with the team for 3 years. Is this the first trophy you've won?
Yeah, every other year we've actually gone out in the first rounds. Unfortunately, had to go to the consolation tournament, so I never actually got this far. All my mates sort of play football and they do rugby and stuff, but none of them ever played like a better sport or got to an England team.
Alan, you've got obviously a very talented bunch of players here. Is there any chance for them to go on and make it into the Super League level?
I would like to think so. I think at the end of the day, the Super League have got to open some doors for British players to get involved in that league. Certainly we've got players that are good enough. I'd like to think these boys would have a future in the sport in this country. You know, these boys need the opportunity. I'm sure they'll get it.
Jonathan Weaver, a British-born player who helped Ayr to victory in our match tonight. Good luck to the under-14s in Canada. Next week, we'll see how the Eagles get on in the first leg of their semi-final against the London Knights. A game you have to watch. Don't miss it. See you then.